Hello, this is Mr. Ho, and we are going to begin the cardiovascular system, chapters 19 and 20. Chapter 19 focuses on blood. The cardiovascular system is comprised of the pump, the heart, which is the actual muscle. But before we get to the muscle of the heart, we have to talk about blood. Blood is a specialized connective tissue that contains cells within a matrix. And what it does is it brings oxygenated blood to the rest of the body so all the organs can stay alive. And also in there, it helps to bring nutrients and also to give strength to all the different organs that rely upon it. Blood transports materials to and from the cells. It travels and carries oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, hormones, also things helping the immune system, and it removes waste products. Please check this box. You will need to know this entire page. The physical characteristics. Well, blood transports dissolved minerals, substances. It also passes pH and ions. It restricts fluid losses at injury sites, and which happens when people are injured. Defends against toxins and pathogens, which helps you fight against the immune system. And the stabilization of the body's temperature in terms of keeping it at 98.6 degrees. Check this page. The physical characteristics of blood is actually plasma. Plasma is a thick constituent. It's not fluid like water, but it's actually a combination of thick dissolved proteins with water as well. And in here you also see that the composition of blood is made up of several different compositions like plasma proteins, other solutes, water, and also water makes up about 92% of this constituents. The platelets are formed elements along with the white and the red blood cells make up the other percentage of the entire plasmatic constituents. In about a simple word, red blood cells and white blood cells are the two complete polar opposites of blood cells. Red blood cells are known as erythrocytes. They are red in that case. They transport oxygen, and they get that red pigment through something called hemoglobin. Number two, the white blood cells or leukocytes actually are more focused on helping the immune system. Do you know what cancer is caused by too many white blood cells? You guessed it, leukemia. Number three, platelets, they don't get the respect they deserve because they're not given a fancy name like erythrocytes or leukocytes. But platelets are actually one of the most important parts of blood system. That's to allow the coagulating or the clotting factors of blood. Also, what happens here is you have a certain liter of blood in your body. 7% of your body weight is actually the blood's volume. Adult male has 5 to 6 liters. The female, about 4 to 5 liters. This is on average. Make sure you know this. The origins of plasma proteins. More than 90% of your plasma is made in the liver. Remember, the liver is the largest visceral organ of the thorax. The antibodies are made by the plasma cells. Antibodies are your best friends because they help fight against disease and bacteria or invading viruses. The peptide hormones are made by the endocrine organs, as you also know, which we just finished. Red blood cells, or the erythrocytes, make up 99.9% of the blood's formed elements. Hemoglobin is the red pigment that gives the whole blood its color, in this case red. It binds and transports oxygen and carbon dioxide. Please know this page. Red blood cells count for the number of red blood cells. It's about 1 microliter of whole blood. In other words, the average male has about 4.5 to about 6.3 million liters of, not liters, but a count of blood. Females have anywhere from 4.2 to 5.5 million RBCs in their system. This is a picture when viewed in standard blood smear. Red blood cells appear as a two-dimensional object. They actually look like little flattened jelly beans here. But this is your typical red blood cell. Let's take a look at this in a three-dimensional shape. It kind of looks like small donuts without holes. And they are very circular and they have a little flattening diameter center. Again, here it is, a cross-diagonal or a transverse cut of the blood cell. Most red blood cells, they lack a nuclei, mitochondria and ribosomes. There's no repair or anaerobic metabolism within it. The average red blood cell lives about 120 days. Please highlight live about 120 days or 3 months. Hemoglobin, what does it do? It carries oxygen. It has a low oxygen count, but hemoglobin is responsible for releasing oxygen. You see it binds carbon dioxide and carries it to the lungs. A condition called hematuria is when the whole red blood cells in your urine due to kidney or tissue damage can lead to kidney stones. Kidney stones is something that you do not want to have. It's a very painful condition that produces almost little rocks passing through your urinary system. Okay, the only thing you need to know on this page is jaundice. Jaundice, we discussed earlier, is caused by bilirubin buildup. What it does is it causes your skin, especially in children, to turn quite yellow. It's a disease that affects your blood cell count. Okay, hemocytoblasts basically are stem cells. We don't need to really go into this one, so skip this page. All right, this is very important. Your blood typing. There are 4 basic blood types. Type A, B, AB, and O. All right? White blood cells, also called leukocytes, do not have a hemoglobin. They have a nuclei and other organelles. The function of white blood cells was, we said, to defend against pathogens, remove toxins and waste, attacking normal blood abnormal cells. In this case, the white blood cell is the primary cell of the immune system or the lymphatic system. Most white blood cells are found in the connective tissue proper, lymphatic system organs, and they're actually small in numbers in blood, about 5,000 to 10,000 per microliter. Hence, 99.9% of all red blood cells make up the majority of formed cells of the system. There's different types of white blood cells. You have neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. I will ask you on the test, which one do you think is the most important here? And it's clearly lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are your number 1 fighters for the immune system to keep you healthy and alive. Let's skip this. Lymphocytes. Check this page. 20 to 30% of your circulating white blood cells. They are larger than red blood cells. They migrate in and out of the blood. They're mostly in the connective tissues and the lymphoid organs, hence lymphatic, and they are a part of the body's specific defense system. There's 3 different types of lymphocytes. T cells are cell-mediated immunity. They attack foreign cells directly. Let me stop here. T cells are very important. If you've ever heard of anything such as AIDS, HIV, when people have that, they go to see their doctors randomly and, of course, mandatorily. When you have a low count of T cells, your body's immune system is going to be under attack. It's at a point where you cannot survive. That's why it's so important when you have a certain disease that is life-threatening, you've got to have a good high number of T cells. B cells are the beta cells, are humoral immunity differentiated by plasma cells, and they synthesize antibodies. B cells are the secondary cells to T cells, which help support your immune system. Number 3, natural killer cells. They can detect and destroy abnormal tissue cells and cancers. This is great. Number 3, I wish we had more of because it really does help to slow down. I don't think it actually kills cancerous cells. It does promote the rapid prevention of cancers from getting worse. So in some ways, the libraries, but the microbiologists and some of the medical bioengineering plants in America and hospitals, they're really trying to boost the natural killer cells because it really does slow down the spread of cancer. Some white blood cell diseases. The only one that I'm going to tell you really got to know is leukemia. Leukemia is what actually is a very, very high cell count, the white cell count. It is a cancer. Leukemia does kill people. It is a cancer that causes an abnormal growth of white blood cells. It's worse than leukopenia, leukocytosis. Forget those two. Leukemia is the worst white blood cell cancer out there. Remember this. All right, let's skip this page. All right, white blood cells, except monocytes, develop in the bone marrow. Know this. When people need a bone marrow transplant because they have got to get white blood cells primarily out of the body, the bone, because it helps to create an immune system for people who are actually in such disease or also dying in a certain case from certain cancer. So bone marrow transplants are important for targeting white blood cells. Platelets, again, are important because they fragment and they also allow clotting. If you don't have proper healing of scratches and scrapes, and if you cut your skin, platelets are what goes to the outer epithelium or epidermis and helps to clot. The proteins then cause a hardening effect or event, which leads to scabbing. Once a scab is hardened, most humans peel it off, and you have a refreshed layer of skin. Platelets are very important. They do circulate for 9 to 12 days. They are removed by the spleen, and about 2/3 of them are reserved for emergencies. So the third constituent of blood, red blood cells, white blood cells, number 3, platelets, are very important for keeping us safe and not bleeding out. There's 150,000 to 500,000 per microliter. There's certain conditions called thrombocytopenia, but the one I want you to know is called thrombocytosis. If you have abnormally high platelet count, you will get a blood clot. If you are on an airplane and if you are an old person, you can have what's called deep vein thrombophlebitis. That is a condition in which your blood clots from sitting on an airplane for so long, especially at an older age, and you can die of a heart attack. That's why old people in airplanes need to walk around, otherwise they can get thrombocytis. Platelets remove important clotting chemicals, release them. They temporarily patch damaged vessel walls, like when you have a heart attack or cut your skin. They reduce the size of a break in the vessel's wall. So platelets are very important to the clotting factor. All right, that was chapter 19.